Welcome to Pro Mindset Podcast. This is Craig Doman, your host. Today on our podcast, we have a gentleman all the way from South Africa. His name is Oscar Chalupsky, and Oscar is a 12-time world champion paddler. He's also a cancer warrior. He got some not so good news today, so that we're going to see where this thing goes. But he's also has a lot of other credentials to his name. But I want to welcome Oscar to Pro Mindset today.
Thank you very much, Craig. Thanks for having me, and it's a pleasure being here. As I say, you are 8 hours behind us, and I'm in South Africa. In fact, in Johannesburg, the sort of capital, the gold capital of South Africa.
Okay. The oxygen is the same regardless, right?
No, it's a lot less here. We're at 6,500 feet above sea level at the moment.
Okay.
So it's like Salt Lake City.
I'm like 6,000 feet here in Colorado Springs. So
okay,
we both get out of breath. We both have reasons to do so. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's start out, Oscar, why don't you just share with everybody? You got this, your bio, your resume of statistics and accomplishments is a mile long, especially as being a performer. What is the drive that you have that most people don't have, regardless of their age, that allows them to compete in world championships and win? In any sport, doesn't matter the sport.
Yeah, and exactly. Sport, business, family, anything. I think it's all the same. The bottom line is, it's very hard to put the finger on exactly what makes you so determined and so positive compared to anybody else. A perfect example, I've got two children. One, my daughter is positive and my son is negative, and brought up in the same household, so it's very difficult. You have to be self-driven. But I think it starts when you're a young age, when you just feel like that you want to win. And then once you've got that feeling of winning, you want to keep on winning. Now that takes a lot of self-discipline and positivity. There's no other way. And again, you don't realize that you need other people to help you, because you need other people to read books about what they've done, and people have gone past before you, Shackleton or the guys who climbed Mount Everest. These are people that you've got to look up to and learn from them. And I think too many people think you just have to do it on your own. You don't have to do it on your own, but you can learn from other people. And I've done that all my life, So as you might have known, I started when I was 14 winning, and I won my last world championships at age 49, So everybody thinks your quarterback, Joe Montana, and these guys are doing well, but this is 49, not 39 or 40.
Okay, Oscar, I want to dive a little bit deeper into that feeling of winning and that determination that you're talking about. What is the fuel that moves that down the road? What is the fuel inside you? Is it to prove people a certain way? Is it to feel good about yourself? Is it to just compete and show that age is just a number? What is the fuel?
I lost you a little bit, but I know there's many fuels. You see, there's many fuels that make up or constitute what makes you so driven. Number one, it's always nice. I'm always very goal driven. And I love telling people what I'm going to achieve. So if I fail, then people ridicule you, which is good, because if you're going to make a statement, you've got to live by it. And that's number one. Number two, I can always tell you that I've trained and I've kept so fit, not to fight the cancer that I've got, but it definitely helps, but so that I can enjoy life. And enjoying life is all about having a balance, having a good family life, having a good exercise regime, and being fit so that you can go and eat and still look good and not be overweight and things like that. So that's why I keep on training. I always set my goals. And when I do set a goal, like trying to win Molokai at age 49, I lose 25 kilos. So that makes you completely fit again, and then you enjoy life. So I think there's a few goals. Number one, there's nothing better than winning. It is because number one is because all the work that you've done before, which, believe me, there's no shortcut in winning. You have to do the work. And then the next thing is when you win, the beers taste a lot better than when you come second. And I don't like writing so much. So, when you come first, you don't have to make any excuse. When you come second, there's a lot of excuses you have to write why you didn't win. So that's another reason. So, so there are a few things that push you. I mean, funny enough, money was never an issue because in our sport, there's not much money in it. So you could never be a professional surf ski paddler or professional paddler. You can get by, if you're at the Olympics. I mean, I went to the Olympics. You can cover your costs, but that's it. You're never going to get wealthy. You're not going to become like your NFLs in the background or your Tiger Woods or your Ernie Elses. It's not there. So it's really about passion and having a good balance in life.
Okay, so it's setting goals and telling people your goals so that they can almost indirectly hold you accountable.
Exactly, and I think it's important.
Yep, and it's balance and fitness, it's training. It's what you're really describing is the journey almost is more important than the outcome, because if you do finish first, that's great. But in the times when you didn't finish first, you still grew, overcame adversity, overcame curveballs, had to get the work in even on days when you didn't feel like it. Maybe even when your friends or family didn't support you working out as much as you needed to work out. You had to be so laser focused despite your circumstances, regardless of what was going on with your life, your work life, your family life, and other things. Is that true?
Correct. That's 100% correct. Good summary.
So here's what I find is one of the biggest, there's what I call identity killers. And to do what you've done, you've had to have a certain identity. You've had to have a certain story about who you are and why you're here. And it was more than just to go to work and put bread on the table and go to bed and get up the next day and do it all over again. It was to travel. It was to meet people. It was to do something unique. It was to, you're like a walking conversation piece, because everywhere you go, you're the only guy in the room typically that does what you do. True?
Correct. Yeah, 100% correct. So, and again, obviously, when you're going to a competition, there's obviously a lot more people. But when I go and talk at NBC in New York, nobody even knows my sport. So always when I do my talks, I actually show them a video of our sport, so they actually can sort of identify and actually sort of visualize what I do. But the most important thing, no matter who I meet, they see sort of the X factor, there's something different factor, whether I was playing tiddlywinks or NBA or golf, because that's the certain kind of differential between me and a person that just is there to make up the numbers. I've always been there. Number one, my passion all my life is to coach people to be similar to me. And that's why I actually wrote the book, to teach people how to be a little bit similar to me, to achieve their goals and to do things out of the ordinary, do things above their average, because it doesn't take much, Craig. I mean, the bottom line is if you do half an hour more exercise every day than the next guy next to you, you're going to be better than him in the long run. So that's what it takes. But there's got to be something that pushes them over the line. And just today, I got a letter from a guy in rehab who's just coming out of cocaine. And he read my book and he finished it on the 3rd, so yesterday. And he said, you know what? I've messed my life up and I can see what you've done. I'm going to kick this habit. And he's took him 2 weeks to read the book, and he read it every day. And now he's on the road to recovery. And that to me is very special. And that's something you only get from, and he was a top sportsman. And that's what happens, and it's good that people like him read something and learn something from me. And that's what I like to teach, not only just how to paddle and how to have a good life, but how to overcome adversity. And this happens to all of us. Just not me alone.
Okay, No Retreat, No Surrender is the title of your book. Give us the 2-minute summary of why you wrote it, what it tells you, and what kind of impact it's going to make on somebody that reads it.
So I wrote this book. I got diagnosed on the 25th of November with basically 6 months to live. And on the 29th of November, I said, listen, my friend that I've known for 50 years, I said, it's time we wrote a book. And I don't want this book to be like other biographies that say how good I was and what I did. I wanted this book to be a life lesson book. So that's why after every chapter, there's life lessons. And those lessons you can take out and learn from the mistakes I've made and the things that I did well, and that's why I wanted this book to be totally different. So the people that get this book, 95% of the people give it to friends that are suffering with cancer or depression or something, and they come to me. I never had, this is a fantastic thing, it was 2 weeks ago, I was at a race. I didn't paddle, but this old guy came, he's probably 80, he's a farmer, and his son, he came and says, "Hey, Oscar, he's an Afrikaans guy, my son, he just so negative, I couldn't get him to do anything. I tried for years. I gave him your book, and he's a changed man, and I must thank you." And that's what I want. I mean, I have lots of messages like that, depression or cancer, because you need something. You need help. Everybody needs help, including me. I read a lot. I'm always reading 2 or 3 books every week, and to help me and to help me survive and to help me learn to teach other people even better than I'm trying to do.
Okay, Oscar, what are, off the top of your mind, the 3 top life lessons that you will learn in reading your book?
I think you've got to realize nothing is impossible. I mean, can you imagine at age 49, I said I was going to try and win the world championship, and I'm racing against guys that are 20 and 30 years younger than me. I couldn't do 1 pull-up, and they can do 1,000 pull-ups. That's the difference. I mean, can you imagine that difference? And the next lesson you're going to learn from that is it's not all about brawn. It's about the brain. And something in life, one thing you and I are doing, and the rest of the people listening here, we're all getting older. But and we get depressed because we're older. But realize this, the older we get, the wiser we get. So always learn, keep learning. You're never too old to learn. So you should actually get clever. And this is the big problem. People sort of give up. Oh, I'm getting old. You can get clever and clever and clever. And that's what I did. I mean, and that's what I think people should learn to do. Now, obviously, there's nothing, there's no such thing as shortcuts. If you want to achieve and you want to be successful, you've got to put in the work. But as I always say, the famous old saying, practice makes perfect, is absolute nonsense. Practice makes permanent. So if you're going to do anything, do it correctly and do it right. Otherwise, you're practicing the bad mistakes. And I think that came from my father, who came out of Germany. He's a German engineer. And he said, listen, if you want to do something, do it properly, or don't even try and do it. So that was something there. So, I mean, those are just a few of the many life lessons out there. But as I always say, 2 arms, 2 legs, same as everybody else. But this part is the most important part. And it never stops learning. And as long as you keep feeding it, it will perform for you. I mean, you can imagine that when I finished the Malacca in 2012, I was so bugged. I didn't throw my hands up in victory. I nearly drowned because I was hyperventilating. That's how far you can push your body if your mind is strong.
So your top 3 life lessons, I'm going to regurgitate them back, is nothing is impossible. Your mind is more important than your body. So keep learning so you get wiser as you get older. And there's no shortcuts, and that whatever you practice is what you're going to, that's what's going to be ingrained in you. That's the permanence. So perfect practice is better than practice. And
100%.
practice with game-like or competition-like conditions, where you have a tendency to start thinking negative when somebody's ahead of you that usually is behind you, or the weather, or some equipment malfunction, and all of a sudden you mentally are going, "Oh, I can't do it now." But those are good. Those are good. Let's dive into each one of those. When you say nothing is impossible, obviously, if you're 5'4", you're not going to play in the NBA. So there's certain physical limitations that certain people have, and then there's other people that struggle with. Maybe they have to get a GED to get out of high school. They're not going to probably go to MIT, or they're not going to be an aerospace engineer. But within reason, with the gifts that God gives each and every one of us, whether it's physical gifts, mental gifts, intellectual gifts, is it fair to say that a lot of people don't shoot for the stars? They don't shoot their shot. They don't go for it. They settle. What you're saying is they need
that's the biggest fault.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, it happens all the time. I see so many talented people, and the only reason why they're not achieving is because they think it's impossible. So they don't even try. The whole thing is you can just keep trying. And even I've seen, 5'4" NBA players. I've seen some short NBA players do it because they've had so much determination, they have so much speed that they actually played. So you can actually overcome adversity as well if your mind is strong enough and you realize and understand this. The old story is, what is the most important thing when you're building a house? Everybody that I ask this question say the foundation, but it's not. It's a plan, and you've got to have a plan, and it's got to be detailed. Because if you don't write your goal down and don't write the plan down, you've got no chance. You can have the best foundation in the world, but they will all skew because you haven't got a plan. You've got to have a plan, and you can work it out from that plan. You must have an hourly plan, a daily plan, a weekly plan, a yearly plan. If you want to do anything, you've got to have a plan. You can't just rock up and think you're going to do well, and you can't think, okay, I'm 5'4", I'll have a plan. So you don't go and play basketball, you play another sport, soccer, and you do very well, like Ronaldo or Messi. They're pretty short, and you have a plan. But you've got to have a plan. If you haven't got a plan, you are nowhere in the water.
No doubt. I see the plan as a vision. You got to have a vision for success. I tell guys all the time, if you can't see yourself doing it first, you'll never be able to do it. The first time you do something typically isn't the first time you've seen yourself do it. Sometimes you see yourself doing it thousands and thousands of times before you actually do it. Did you visualize
100%.
in your competitions, before your competitions?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you've got to visualize where you want to be. So when you've got to put the doubt out of your mind, because I can tell you right now, the negativity always creeps in. When I said, okay, I'm going to win my 12th Molokai at the age of 49 over a span of 30 years, you can imagine how many people and how many doubters and how many people said, oh, you're crazy. What are you even trying to do that? But I visioned that. Number one, I had won the race 11 times before. But number two, I had that vision of winning. And it never left me. Every time I train, we have a bad day or a good day. You can't give up on yourself, and you can't let your mind wander and put you down, because that happens. Of course, when you're going, you do a training run and the guys beat you, you think, oh, gosh, how does that happen? I can't be going that well. And you mustn't think like it. Say, oh, okay, this is what a mistake I made. So you've got to learn from those mistakes and keep that vision and that end goal there all the time. Because if you waver, and let me tell you, in fighting cancer, that's what happens a lot.
Amen. Okay, I get it. You've got to eliminate the negative thinking, eliminate the fears, eliminate the doubts. What do you do to do that? What is your process? So let's say, for example, you're training for a competition back when you were 49. Before you were 12th, you were, at that point in time, you were 11-time world champion. And you're trying to become 12th, 12 times. There had to be doubts that seeped into your mind while you were training, especially when you had a bad day.
Yeah, so that is one of the questions I always get given. I've had so many bad runs in the last 3 or 4 years with my cancer. Somebody asked me, now, do you feel negative some days, when they get told you got another cancer and another cancer? And I said, no, because that is the most important thing. If I ever think about it, it's for a second or two, and I take it out of my mind. I don't want negativity. You don't understand that if you just have this one small negativity, you won't believe how it compounds. And I say compound because the family hear about it. The family tell the friends, and then everybody's like negative, and it pulls everybody down. When you positive all the time, everybody starts believing. Your daughter believes in, your son believes in, everybody goes around, and you just pull this flame to make people believe in you, and they're not even part of you. But if you waver and you say, oh, maybe, he's getting old, he's quite fat, and 49, these guys they spend all their life training, where Oscar's working and trying to fit all these things in. You've got to get this fire going with all the people around you, so you never have that negativity. And it's very important in fighting cancer as well.
What you just described and what I heard was when you're negative, you create a negative environment around you. I call the people around you your pit crew. They're the people that help you, support you, validate you, push you, hold you accountable, all those types of things. And when you are negative, they can't hold more positivity than you have. And then comparatively or conversely, when you're positive despite your circumstances, when you're positive despite your odds, despite what the doctor said, despite what stage cancer you have, despite your age and your sport, whether it's you're dealing with cancer, you're dealing with competition, it's the same. Is it not the same?
Exactly the same. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. Exactly.
Okay. So for the period of time that you've been fighting cancer, how has your mindset as a competitor helped you in moments when you do get bad news, or you don't have energy, or you don't have a good doctor's appointment, you don't have good test results, all those things? How does what you've done your whole life in sport translated in your fight for your life in dealing with cancer?
No, it's so similar that it's uncanny, and maybe that's why I had to become such a determined sportsman, to see how far you can push your body. And I relate to this when I was at 49, winning my 12th Malacca, or going my first time. It was that extra effort, that how far can you push it when you get this news that you've got 6 months to live. I just sort of said, no, I haven't got 6 months to live. And then everybody feeds on it, because I think, and this is very important for young people and old people to realize, you've got to seize the day. Every day you do your exercise, every day you go to work and achieve something, is helping you for the day that you get the phone call. And we all get it. Oh, you've got this disease or that disease or that disease. You've got to be doing every day at your maximum. So wake up and do things. You've got to keep doing it, because you never know when you're going to need it. And I can tell you right now, fighting any demons, you have to be fit. So it works hand in hand. So I've been doing the sport, and obviously at a level beyond most people, but it's helped me to fight this disease, which is also beyond incurable bone marrow cancer. So, and at no stage, and my family and my wife always say, oh, he seems so normal. You can't believe this guy hasn't got much time to live, but he feels like he's living every day. And that's important for everybody else. They've got to live every day and put in the effort every day, so that you can, when that call comes, you prepared for it. And that's basically what happened to me.
So you're prescribing that you've got to be fit every day. So when you get the phone call, you're not in a deficit. You don't have to get started to figure out how to fight some adversity or some illness or some cancer or something. You're already ready for it. So what you basically did your entire life through your sport was you prepared your body and your mind more than anything, for some type of adversity that might be looming around the corner. And then when it came, you're a cancer warrior is what you call yourself, because you're fighting. You're not quitting. You're not conceding. You're not buying into whatever the doctor's telling you.
Seems that I've just lost you for a little while. I don't know if you can hear me, but you've
probably
disappeared.
1 in a million or 1 in 1,000 or one in some number
but I can't hear
of people
your last question.
That live 20 years.
African technology.
And you're trying to be the one.
What's going on? Okay, it's coming up.
Did you hear me?
I missed out. I heard a lot, and it just suddenly went off. Your side, I could hear my side. I don't know if you can repeat the question again. Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good. Basically, What I said was, because of how you've trained in sport, you put yourself mentally in a disposition where you could fight this cancer better than the average guy. And
100%.
every time a doctor shares with a patient, an oncologist says, hey, you've got the C word, and oh, it's stage X, and you've got Y days to live, Y months to live, or Y years to live. And then the next question you might have in your mind is, but what's the best case scenario? Because you just shared with me the worst case scenario. Because I want to be the guy that achieves the best case scenario.
Always.
And if you've
that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so the odds of you winning a world championship at 49 were very, very small. I mean, very long. But you did it. And then so, like, let's say it was 1 in 10,000 or whatever number it might have been, that somebody 49 could beat all these people in their 20s and 30s. But you were the one. So do you have that same type of mindset about attacking cancer that, yeah, this sucks. This is hard. This is not what I wanted. But there's a 1 in a something chance, and I'm going to be that one.
Exactly. So basically, my cancer, the people used to live 3 to 5 years. Some people get lucky and they live for 10 years. But my whole thing, my goal now is to live long enough for them to find a cure. So understand the things that you have to do. I mean, I was in hospital in November, and they told me no. The doctor said, bring your family in. In fact, one of my family members brought the priest in. They thought it was that bad. But I said, no way. I spoke to a guy in Boston, Professor Thomas Seyfried at Boston College. He's the professor of biology there. And he said, no, all cancers are metabolic. So I went on a 21-day fast. Now, you have to have a adapted mental brain and physical and mentally strong to go and fast for 21 days. So I never ate anything in that hospital for 21 days, just water, coffee, and eventually after about a week and a half, bone broth, which is like a soup full of the micronutrients that you need, and I got my levels down because of that. The doctor they were astonished, but they didn't realize what I did and the sacrifice you have to make. Just like going into sport, you have to make sacrifice. You can't go and get drunk every night. You've got to wake up early and train, and these are the sacrifices you have to make. The same thing with business and the same thing with family. And I think those are the kind of things you have to make. And now it starts again.
What does the fast do to cancer?
Okay, so what happens, because cancer is metabolic, and all cancers are metabolic, I've found out from your Boston guy, Professor Thomas Seyfried, is that it needs food to live in. In fact, cancer doesn't need oxygen, it needs food. So if you starve the body of food, cancer starts getting into remission. In fact, some people have cured it by just purely fasting and doing different eating regimes. But I know that in that 21 days, there was somebody having the same sort of cancer. Mine came down from 1,400 kappa light chains to like 300 in 3 weeks, where the other guys take months to do it. Because I starved this poor cancer, it was struggling. And now, and it was going all the way down nicely like this. And I was 2 weeks ago, I was at 111. And then I got the call today, as I told you, that they said, we're not very happy with this. Your kappa light chain's gone to 300, so it's up 3 times the amount that it was going down. And the number that you're trying to get to is 0 or 5, and I'm now at 300. So back to the drawing board, where I said, okay, what must we do? Extra chemo, extra dosages to try and get it down, because basically multiple myeloma is so clever that you give it the drugs and it kills it a little bit and then it forms again. That's why it's called multiple myeloma, bone marrow cancer. That's why I can't find a drug that can actually kill this cancer. So it's one of those rare cancers that they haven't found a cure. I mean, they're getting close with a thing called CAR-T, CAR-T, where they sort of change your DNA. But again, it costs between $1 and $3 million to do. It's America and Israel and sometimes in China, and it only buys you a year and a half. So it's not the end all. So I've just got to keep hanging in on these runs before I go to the final CAR-T. But as I say, my brain's geared to fight it. And the big thing I've also done, and I've learned is to share my experience because it will help somebody else. And it has helped many people. So I put it on my social media. So tomorrow I'll be saying, guys, thanks for all the support, but this is where I am again. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry, but I just wanted to know that this is what's happening to me, and you must get strength out of it, not weakness.
Have you talked to other cancer patients that have beat a different type of cancer and what they learned from their experience?
Lots.
What is the two or three things?
Yeah.
What is the key learnings there?
You said it right in the beginning. If you're not mentally strong and you're not positive to fight it, you're on a downhill spiral very fast. I mean, I have people that had the same cancer as me in their last 1 year. Just, they just don't realize there's a way out, and they don't work out a way. There's no plan to get out. So, but what happens, which is, I always get upset, is that so many people come to me and say, Oscar, I've just got this cancer. I'm the first person who gets the phone call. And I'm also the first person when they die as well. I said, well, it's nothing I do. We tried our hardest, and I'm always doing videos for people saying, listen, you can do it. And that's what you need as a cancer patient, as a cancer warrior, is you need that sort of affirmation from somebody like me saying, hey, you can do it. Look at me. I'm doing it. I'm living proof that I can do it. And it helps them. And they love it. So I get lots of people asking me advice, and I've always given them reading material or give them a little bit of advice, because I'm not a doctor, but I just know what I've done is something different. And you've got to be different. That's why I say you've got to educate yourself. So many people just believe the doctors and carry on. I don't. I believe I take the doctor's advice, but I read up about things all the time, getting my education on the cancer fight, and just like educating myself how to be better at paddling. So the perfect example, I used to fast, and this is also before when I got my cancer in the beginning, I used to fast 3 days before I got my chemo. And at no stage until this day, I've had any side effects of chemo, because I worked it out myself from my reading. If you've got no food in your stomach, how the hell do you get sick? Impossible. So now, 4 years later, people and medicine have actually said, no, this actually is a way to, number one, make the chemo work better because you've got nothing in your stomach. And number two, you don't get sick, so you've got no side effects. So this has become medical advice now. But I did it out of learning from books, from Shackleton, from other people, and this is what you've got to do. And everybody's got to do it, no matter what cancer you got, no matter what business, you can do it different ways. There's always a different way of doing something, and there's always a better way. You've just got to find it, and you've got to keep trying.
Okay. Do you have a morning routine that you administer every day, or do you not? Do you do any meditation, any prayer, any breath work, anything like that?
So I don't do any of those things. And again, that's the mistake that people make, is that when I go for a swim for a kilometer, or I go for a paddle for 20 or 30 kilometers, that is like meditating. That's like breath work. That's like all those things. But it's far more natural. It's more fun. And it's more fun when I go and swim my laps in the pool. I love meditating. I have to breathe because I can't. I'm doing my breath work. And then when I'm paddling 20, 30, 40 kilometers out to sea, I'm surfing the oceans. I'm getting my mind accustomed and tune with the ocean swells, and making sure that I catch the right wave going the right way. So that's what you do when you're doing your sport. And I think that's why, even if sometimes I go for walks, when I had my first thing, I wasn't allowed to do any sport because my spine was eaten away by the cancer. So all I did was walk, and eventually I was walking 20, 30 kilometers, no problem. But again, in those walks, you're getting the breathing, you're getting the fitness, and you're getting that important thing in life is de-stressing. I think they've got all these fancy things, meditate and pray. De-stressing is all about getting out there, doing exercise, getting your heart rate up, and that helps you become a better person, and does all the things that prayer and all that. And again, my ritual, I'm funny, we only eat one meal a day if I eat, even now before I got the latest thing. So I only eat one meal a day, and I eat it socially. So that's a big difference. So I'll wake up in the morning, invariably I'll go swimming, and then when I do all my exercise in the sauna of all places, or the steam room, because if I'm going to do 20 minutes, I'd rather do it under hot conditions, stressful conditions. So whatever I do is giving me more benefits in a shorter time. So there's always a way of doing things differently. And people think I'm crazy when they're all sitting in the sauna, sweating like anything. I'm doing my push-ups, my sit-ups, my dips. I think I'm crazy. But again, think out the box. I've got to find other methods, better methods to keep me fit and healthy.
Oscar, one of the things that you are communicating is the importance of putting your body under duress, challenging your body so much that your mind doesn't want to do it, but you got to do it. Your body definitely doesn't want to do it, and it's communicating with your mind. It's like, hey, that's enough. Haven't we done enough today? And your mind's got to say, no, we're going to keep going. And I think that so many people, as we get older, and I'm talking older as 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 and so on and so forth, they want to do the comfortable stuff. They want the convenient, the easy stuff. They don't want to stress out. They don't want to sweat. They don't. So like when you go work out in the ocean, there's an inherent danger element there. And there's you have to be, your mind has to be like clicking on all cylinders when you're in that situation. And then you're getting tired. Whereas if you're sitting in a chair watching TV, eating more potato chips or whatever it might be, you have no stress.
Thank you. No stress, and you're not stressing yourself either.
No, but I think that what I've learned over the last handful of years is that the more you physically do, the stronger you get mentally, the healthier you get. Whereas for a lot of people, especially former athletes, it's like, hey, I've been there, done that. I was grinding for 20 years or however many years it was. And I need a break. And then their body goes in the tank, falls apart. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I 100% agree, because it's so easy to say, this is the date to stop playing cricket, or this is the date to stop playing NFL. It's bullshit, because there's no such thing as, oh, I'm too old to do this sport. I'm too old. I think that's absolute nonsense. I mean, to give you an example, at age 58, and I just finished my chemo session, I flew to Brazil for a race. It was 120 kilometers, so that's 80 miles, over 4 days, different lengths, and I was 58. And I lost the first day. I was coming second, then tied first, and eventually I won that race by 5 or 6 minutes. And the next guy was 28. Now you go and figure, 28. So the bottom line is that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Yes, maybe you're not going to win all the time, but if you've set your mind to it, there's no way. Age is, yes. And that's why I picked the races, and the race is a lot of skill. So, but at the end of the day, it was still 80 miles, 120 kilometers of paddling. You can't get away by just getting off the couch and eating a potato chip and jump in a boat and do 120 Ks. You have to do the preparation. You have to put the miles in. And while you're doing those miles, and you're 100%, you said earlier on, is that you're just building up the stamina for eventual event. And if you don't do well, you've had 2 or 3 weeks that you've been training and feeling good. I think all sportsmen should just keep on going if they can. A perfect example, my father's 86, and he trains 2 or 3 times a day at 86. Okay, 2 or 3 times a day. And again, he's fit and healthy. And you see other 86-year-olds, you cannot believe the difference. You like to think some 70-year-olds look like my father, and he's 86 and is training flat out, setting his next goal for his next race, So, and that's what he does at 86. So it's probably a little bit in the family.
So what do you say to those people that when they hit those milestones, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on and so forth, how should they view their age comparative to how most people do? Because as every decade comes on, people get more sedentary. They do less activity. They certainly don't go compete in world competitions of any sport. So what do you say to those people what they should do and why?
It's sort of a reverse curve. The older you get, the more you should train. You know, and this is a bit of facts, is that when you're young, you don't have to train for 3 or 4 days and your muscles won't start degenerating. The older you get, the faster your muscles degenerate. So it should be an adverse curve. You should just be doing more and more exercise. It doesn't have to be lots. It doesn't have to be hours because you take more strain. So my gym exercise that I do in the sauna take me 15 to 20 minutes. That's enough. But I try and get every muscle part working. Because if you keep your muscles going, they're going to look after you. And the same thing why I swim is it's a whole body exercise. Then I paddle, it's also whole body exercise. You've got to keep those muscles working all the time. It's like racehorses. If they stop running, even trotting for 2 or 3 days, their form goes down. So you've got to keep exercising. And sort of inverse, I should say, is that the older you get, the more exercise you should do on all the little muscles. But you have to do long. I mean, when you're young, you're a bit stupid, so you do 20-hour marathons and things like that. When you're older, you've got to be a little bit cleverer and pick your races, pick your fights, pick your things, but you must keep exercising. So the older you get, the more exercise you should be doing.
I like that. That means I need to exercise more. Okay. Let's shift for a second. Pro mindset is about your story, your standards, and your stage. And your story is your identity. It's who you are. It's your worth. It's your purpose. Your standards is how you do what you do and what kind of things do you do? What systems do you have? And then your stage is different for everybody, but it's not the same thing you think it is. There's no question that an Olympic competition is a stage. It doesn't matter the sport. You know, if you're a speaker, a minister, you have a stage. But everybody's got a stage. This conversation is a stage. The next conversation you have after this is going to be a stage. It could be over the phone. It's still going to be a stage. But let's go back to standards. What is the standard that you've exemplified in your sport as well as in your life that's helped you with your cancer issues that is higher than some people? What is it? What is your standard? Like when you, because we talked about before that practice creates permanence. So if you're not practicing at a high level, you're creating bad habits.
The correct thing. Yeah. So
right.
My stage is because I've been doing it for such a long time. I mean, as I say, I started at 14. It's always been to be honest and help other people. It's the strangest thing. Like I tell the other people when I know, say they're racing in South Africa and we've got this course, if one of my competitors come to me and say, oh, what is the best way? I'll tell them the exact best way. I'm always honest with everybody and loyal to everybody. You know, so that's why in my phone here, I think I've got, and loyalty and networking is sort of the same. I've got 8,000 contacts in my phone. And I make sure I wish them happy birthday. I make sure that I engage them. I'm going anywhere in the world. I make sure I help them. It doesn't take anything to give a phone call or to a birthday wish. That's sort of been my ethos, is that I keep my network going because your network and your support system is going to help you. And they is. And you talked about the cancer. It is helping me in my cancer because people are out there praying and rooting for me because of what I am, because I'm always giving back. And I think, and I learned this from a young age when I was in business, is that if you are honest with your clientele and show them and really look after them, they will look after you. And I think that's an important thing that I've always done. You know, I've given, if you go on YouTube, you'll see so many free videos and people love it and they learn. It's, the only reason why I'm paddling is because you gave me all these free videos and I'm paddling better than most people. And that's what you got to do. You got to give back and then it'll come back to you, you know? So, and I think that's something very important and it works in business as well. You look after your customer, the customer looks after you. Don't worry about the money. That is an incidental. That will happen over time because you are honest and your integrity is at a different level that they can trust you for anything. And then I mean anything. Whether it's sport, whether it's family discussions, whether it's business. And yes, sometimes my loyalty is too loyal, which can be a hindrance, but I'd rather be that way than any other way.
Okay, Oscar. I'm going to define a word for you, and then I want you to tell me the answer in your experience. A stronghold. A stronghold is something that it's a lie that you've attached yourself to, that you've bought into, either about yourself, your identity, your purpose, that is not true. It's a lie. It's not true. That has stopped you from maybe accomplishing even more than you've accomplished. Or what stronghold did you have that you had to overcome to accomplish what you have? Or, I got one more. I got one more. What is the stronghold that trips up most people? So take your pick. What is a lie that we believe that's not true that stops so many people? And what have you done? Why have you achieved?
That is a tough one to work out. I mean, I'd say, and again, I'm probably repeating myself, is that the lie to yourself is that you can't do something. And so many people have got that in their stronghold. They just don't realize that they can achieve a lot more than they can. And that becomes a defining statement for them. And they just never seem to get out of it. And I think I haven't ever had that. One of those people that just define and defy anything negative or anything dishonest, so you've got to be honest with yourself. And as I said before, you have to be honest and realize that you can do better. Even me, I can do better. I mean, just now, I saw the mistake. I thought, I don't have to worry. My cancer's semi under control. Then I was in stage 4 2 weeks later, So, and again, it's because I just let my guard down. And I thought, okay, this is too easy. Life's not easy. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody out there. So you got to realize you're going to have these roadblocks and these lumps in the road. These curved balls are going to be thrown at you all the time, and you've got to just handle them. And I think the stronghold is so many people are dishonest with themselves. They think they can't do it. And there's a lot of can'ts. And that always leads me to the can't and the worry factor. I'll never forget. This is ages ago. So many people worry about things, and it really bugs me. In fact, I always tell people, if you want to worry, this is my medicine for you. Go into the toilet, lock the toilet door, and worry like crazy and see if you change anything in this world. Nothing changes. So if you can't do anything about it, there's nothing you can do about it. It's up to you to do it now. And I'm one of those people. My wife, my kids get so mad when I say, phone this person, I'll do it. I said, do it now. Do it now. Because then you never, ever have to worry. Too many people worry about things and it doesn't achieve anything. It just can achieve stress, which is one of the worst things in life.
Do it now. You need to write another book. Do it now.
Yeah, I've actually, so many people, because this book gives a sort of outline of what you should do. And so many people want that. I want a manual to say, how can I do what you did? And here's the manual. You do this much exercise, you do this much family time, you do this much work time, you do this, and this is how you do it. And when you've done that step, then you go to the next step and next step. And I've got to just see how it goes. Writing books is not the biggest and the best thing in the world, but my book, I'm very proud of it that it's gone. In South Africa, it's on its fourth print, which is quite good in books, and it's stuff. But you need a Bill Gates, Richard Branson. Piers Morgan read it, and he says it's one of his best books he's ever read. But you see, Bill Gates has got 52 million followers. If he says this is a book that can help you in life, you'll sell 1 million copies, and we get like $1 a copy. So it's not. You don't make a lot. The publishers make all the money. But the reason why I wrote the book is to make people get out of the stronghold where it's impossible. No, you can't do that. I'm this and I can't do that. In their sphere and in their framework, they can do a lot better. And as I say, even I can do a lot better. So I have to be a little bit more disciplined now that I've got the news today.
Okay. So what is your plan after this podcast? to regroup, re-energize, infuse yourself with more positivity, put yourself in the right state of mind so that you can attack the news that you got today, so that you can do everything you've been doing your whole life, and that is win, beat the odds, not necessarily prove the doctors wrong, but just kind of prove them wrong on what they say.
Yes.
What is your plan? You said from the beginning, the foundation was not the most important thing. The plan is.
Yeah, and
So,
the plan straight away. Yeah, I mean, I've already started phoning doctors to get my doctors in Portugal to understand what I've done and what my figures done. So I'm doing things. You understand? Doing it now as well. Writing to the doctor in Portugal, so listen, I'm coming to Portugal. That's where I live most of the time, half the year, summer and winter, and speaking to the doctor, say, listen, I need that report, and doing it now. And say, and if he doesn't do it, and people hate me for this, I will be onto them every single day. If somebody doesn't reply to my email, I send it 20 times till they reply. And I'll phone them. I never give up. I never give up to make it happen, because I understand there's nothing I can do about this cancer, but there's something I can do. So number one, I started now. My last meal was on Sunday, and my next meal will be on tomorrow afternoon. So I will fast for 2 days. And I know that helps, and now I'll be much more stricter in selecting my dinners. So I plan to do 7 and some 20-day fasts and 21-day fasts, and maybe I'll push it to 30-day fasts, where I'll just drink water and black coffee and teas, and then I'll have some bone broth just for the potassium, magnesium, for the micronutrients. So I'm gearing myself up, making my mind ready that one of these days I'm going to say, this is the day I'm going to start my fast. In 30 days, I'll train, I'll work, I'll do everything, and I will show cancer that it's picked the wrong opponent at the moment. But it's a very strong cancer. I'm quite impressed. It's one of the best oppositions I've had.
wow. Well, I have a lot of confidence and faith in your resilience, your relentlessness. You've got all those traits that you need to have to beat the odds. Oscar, I want to, unless there's anything you want to add, is there anything you would like to add that we didn't talk about?
No, I mean, the bottom line is that I think not only my book, but other books, people must educate themselves. Go to read books, and don't, so many people read a book and then give it away. I heard a very multi-billionaire says, no, I keep 200 books and I read them 2 or 3 times, because I can tell you, no matter what you and I have discussed here, they're going to remember 10%. And you've got to reread and reread and relearn to make it, because the old story is repetition is the mother of all learning. Repetition. So even me, I mean, I still do my techniques, and I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm still doing it. I don't just discard it. When I read a book, I read it 2 or 3 times, because I want to, and you learn new things, and I think that's important for people. Don't think you've read a book and you know everything, because you don't, because you only retain 10%. And I really hope that the people do read the book and don't give it away. Keep reading it. And I've had people that read it 3 or 4 or 5 times that put post-it notes in, because that's what this book is about. The book, and most books, are there for you to educate and help you fight adversity and be a better person than when you started reading the book. And that's, I think, an important thing.
Okay, Oscar. No Retreat, No Surrender is the title of your book. Where can people find you? What's your website?
My website's oscarchalupsky.com, but you can get it on Amazon. It's on Audible. And again, this is something that, another life lesson, is that everybody says, oh, no, Oscar, you've got a lovely voice. I'd like you to read it. I said, I'm not a narrator. I'll get the best narrator, the similar voice to me. And then in the life lessons, I talk. But the book is read by a proper narrator who sounds like me. A lot of people think it's me. But when he wants an American accent, he got it perfectly. He wants an Afrikaans or Australian accent, he does it perfectly. So it really draws you in, So, and that's the thing in life. Do what you can do best, and let the other people do what they do best. And between all of us, you'll get a better product. Because you do podcasts all day, every day. So you're getting good at this. Much better than me, who does. And I'm normally a guest on many podcasts. And I think that's important in life. I don't want to paint my house, because a painter will do better. I didn't write my book. We read it together with Graham Spence, who has written 15 books. And he writes so well. And that's what you do in life. get the best people to do the job, and you'll get a better product.
And do it now.
Yes, absolutely. I'm
Oscar,
sorry I
hang
had to
on.
make you good.
No, thank you very much for being on today. It's Craig Doman, the host of Pro Mindset Podcast. I want to thank you for listening or watching today's show. And you can catch us every week on the normal social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all the listening podcast platforms. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And more importantly, I hope you gained a pro mindset insight. Please be sure to rate and review Pro Mindset Podcast. And I look forward to catching up with you on our next show.